Welcome back to A Doctor's Perspective, episode 47. In this minisode, we're going to discuss Choose Financial Independence podcast. One's about food delivery services and calculating your savings rate. And I think they're going to go hand in hand, so I'm combining the two. Before we jump in, I've been a little busy. I've been on 4 different podcasts. You ready for this? Podcast Insider. It's already been released, talking about podcasting and why would you do that and doing it in China. It's kind of a unique situation that you're aware. Obviously, you're listening to this one. But if you want to hear the behind the scenes, a little bit of what's going on from the CEO of Blueberry, which is what I used to host, you can go to the resources page if you like and use my code affiliate. But anyway, the CEO of that company, he interviewed me about that. So it's kind of interesting to see, he's been around a long time. He gets to experience a lot of different kind of podcasting type of individuals. So he was intrigued. We actually had a lot of commonalities, which was fun as well. So enjoy that one. Owning Her Health with Dr. Lisa Holland. She was on my show. I was on her previous video series that she was doing, but she's been venturing into more coaching, and she was doing yoga back then. Now she's kind of venturing more into like the coaching. And so she was just, asking me about my book writing, my number 1 best-selling Amazon book, Today's Choices, Tomorrow's Health. That's right, 7 different categories. Thank you. So she wanted to know, how I did that. What do I do with it? How do you market it? How can you use that for your own coaching, mentoring, credibility in your own clinic, all those types of things. So we went through that pretty deep. That was fun. Get published. Again, just a 5-question, 15-minute interview about your favorite book, favorite quote, what kind of marketing did I do for the book, which I'll go into detail with that. So that one's coming out at the September 24th, I believe. And the last one, Cheryl's Podcouch. It's going to be a video and a podcast, so that's a little nervous. So was the Owning Her Health. There's no do-overs on those, And we're going to talk about family life as an expat and cultural differences and how you raise your kids, like with grandparents versus your parents, and the stresses for kids to like 35 hours a day, really no sports to get into the best high school and to get into the best college. So we'll have all those kind of conversations. So she's a psychologist, a doctor, and she was on the show a while back under Mommy Burnout, Cheryl Gonzalez. So excited for you guys to check those if you would like. I'll have links to all of those. Maybe the next episode, I'll just drop the easy link for you. All right, so this episode, again, financial independence. It's actually like a 3-in-1 because we're also talking about side hustles. The first one was food delivery. They were exploring some of the big sites out there. Some of them you definitely have to compare. You want to get a list. Say you have a recipe, 2 recipes that you want to use for the week. And let's say you have to get a special ingredient like cumin. You want to price out all the stuff that you're going to get. Carrots, potatoes, the cumin spice, whatever, the curry sauce, and then look through, put it in 3 or 4 different type of food delivery services. It might be local at Walmart. It could be local to your Kroger. There's some other ones out there. And just look at them and say, okay, which one saves you the most money? And you may go back and say, okay, line item. These are actually cheaper, but the delivery fee makes it more expensive and never wins. Okay, that's good to know. So just go through it and you can save some money. The biggest thing, and the second part of this is, and this is what, actually, honestly, Today's Choices, Tomorrow's Health book, I go through all your kind of your expenses and ways you can cut it. There's only so much you can cut. There's certain things you have. That's the way life is. And if you don't have enough money, then you need to get a side hustle because you can expand your earning potential, right? Now, what does that look like? Because you got a 9-to-5 job, but you might lose it. You might get fired. You might get laid off because they're doing downsizing. Now you got nothing. That's scary. So it's kind of like start now, trying to find something. You can go the Amazon route. You find these products. There's different companies that'll help you do this. We've talked about it before. You find a product that you're interested in, perhaps. Oh, that's interesting. You read some reviews. These are the things they don't like about it. You go to Alibaba, find a manufacturer, tell them, hey, I want these changes, and you find them, and then you can sell it yourself. You don't have to carry a product. You send it to the Amazon warehouse. You can also license other products. If there's something that you like, you might find another manufacturer, contact them and be like, hey, do you do licensing? Yeah, okay. Now you just sell the product underneath your own business name, and you just pay them like a fee. It can work out really well, really well. Maybe you really like tacos and you think you'd make a good taco, and you've heard people like, man, I'd pay for this. Well, you maybe open up a taco truck on the weekends. One of the examples they had was a hiking tour of your city. This person was, I think, in San Francisco, and she was already walking all the time and enjoying it. And like when her buddies would come into town, they would do like a walking tour. And she's like, hey, I can turn this into business. So now that's actually what she does. She tours people around the city, walking, bicycling, and people pay to see it. And I can tell you, I've done that in Cambodia. We went to the Angkor Wat, and we paid to be on a bicycle, and the local would just drive us around, or guide us around and show us different things. It's quite cool. If you got an extra bedroom, you can Airbnb it. You can build out your garage, so you always have an Airbnb ready to go. There's sites where you can actually rent your car. If you have an extra car that you don't use, or maybe you have an older car that you can use in your nicer car, you can rent that out. Like, there's the websites, and what's kind of cool about that is you can see what brands go for what in your area. One thing that maybe the liability is high, but inflatable jump castles, $100, maybe a couple $100. You can buy one of those, then you rent it out for $100 a day or $60 a day. Yeah, there's a lot of work involved with that, but if you're willing to put some elbow grease in there for a while, I mean, you could have a nice little side business. And if you ever lost your job, you can turn it full time. Now, another thing is, not everybody wants to be a house cleaner or a plumber, but if you already are that, you've, say, gone to school, you've been trained, you're tired of working for the man, I'm going to do this on my own. You can kind of go on Yelp or one of these things and kind of see what the 1-star reviews are talking about, 2-star reviews. What are they complaining about? They're not on time. They don't answer their phone after 5. Well, guess what? You could be that person that, I'm going to just answer my phone. I'm going to wear the little shoe booties so I don't mess up their carpets. And if you don't want to do it yourself all the time, you can start a business, hire these people yourself, train them correctly, and now you got a little side hustle, cleaning houses that you don't even have to do, perhaps, and you've already made sure that your selling point is all the negatives that you've seen on Yelp. That was kind of cool when I saw that. And then the last piece was calculating your savings rate, assuming you've got your expenses under control, you got yourself a side hustle now, and you want to start figuring out, like, what am I making? What am I saving, right? Who cares what you make? It's what you take home. And in this case, is what you save for retirement. And there's a couple different methods. If you have a 401k, do you add it in or not? I would think you would add it in because that's a savings. You want to put in all of your expenses that you do have and what you expect to have, disability, Social Security, and take those out of your salary when you figure it out. And at that point, it really just kind of becomes a division. You saved $10,000, you made $100,000. Divide that, boom. So it's not that hard to figure out what you saved. You just gotta potentially add back your disability insurance and things like that. So make it a little more complicated, I guess. But you can go to like personalcapital.com was what they recommend. They like that one. Mint.com is really good to track your expenses. The Personal Capital, I think, does more of the long term, not just what your expenses, but the retirement rates and all that type of stuff. So I hope I didn't bore you too much on that last piece. I just wanted to throw it in there. I didn't need a whole episode on it. Well, hope that's been good. Hope you got your brains thinking of ways you can get a side hustle. Even as a doctor, you can do a side hustle if you want, or potentially your kids or your wife. That podcast is really quite good. And there's even another podcast. I'm going to do another episode called the Side Hustle Podcast, Side Hustle Show. We'll talk about that more. So till then, we just went #behind the curtain.